up the heat. T-Wil on the mic, can't accept defeat. My ATL sports show, he's running the game. Atlanta Falcons fly high, you know the name. In the heart of the A, where the pride runs deep. From the Braves to the Falcons, he's keeping it real, no sleep. He's got the scoop, every player, every play, bringing the thunder every single day. T-Wil, shining bright on the airwaves, bringing sports tonight. Atlanta heart with the soul so free. My ATL sports show, it's the place to be. T-Wil, taking flight. Falcons and Braves, yeah, we're feeling right. So bring that energy, let the city resonate. With T-Wil on the mic, we're gonna celebrate.
ATL sports fans everywhere within the sound of my voice. How are you guys doing today? I hope that all is well. Today, we are here not necessarily to debate, but to discuss, should our Atlanta Braves trade Ronald Acuna? That's right, I said it. I didn't stutter. You're not hearing things. Should our Atlanta Braves trade Ronald Acuna? It's come up here recently. The Braves are essentially cooked for the 2025 MLB season, if you believe most folks. And today we're going to delve into it a little bit and discuss it for the next hour and 15 minutes or so, or however long it takes. But to everyone who is in attendance, welcome. And to everyone who is joining us momentarily and in the future, welcome. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Our Atlanta Braves are currently 39 and 50. They are 11 games under 500. They're not doing well. They're not doing well at all. They are currently in fourth place in the NL East, and they are a lot of games behind a lot of teams. So they are essentially 13 and a half games back in the division. Their recent performance is poor, having lost their last 3 games and going 2-8 in their last 10. Their expected win-loss record based on runs scored and runs allowed is 45 and 43. And that tells you that offensively, they are underperforming tremendously. Okay. Our pitching, even though we've had some injuries, our pitching has been really good, but the issue has been the offense. The offense has been anemic. It has been poor. It has been insufficient. It has been deficient. Whatever adjective you want to use, the offense has been really bad. We've also got some injuries that are piling up. So Spencer Strider, actually Spencer just got back, so he's doing okay. He's been back for about a month or so. Chris Sale is out with a fractured rib cage. Spencer Schwellenbach has a fractured elbow. Joe Jimenez is out for the year, and Reynaldo Lopez is out for the year. And Marcell Ozuna has a hip injury. So the Braves have some issues to the strength of what is their 2025 team. If it wasn't for the pitching, the Braves right now would probably be 30 games under 500. And so we've suffered some injuries at a position that we are very strong and really our only strength. And I believe that is why so many are even considering this move, because it doesn't look like the Braves are going to be able to come out of this hole that they currently reside in. Other news and developments. There are rumors and discussions about potential trades involving players like Ozzie Albies, Marcell Ozuna, Raciel Iglesias, and Pierce Johnson. All right, so let's put a couple things to bed. Number one, nobody's trading for Ozzie. Okay, I love Ozzie to death. Ozzie was on our 2021 World Series team. Ozzie is a leader in that clubhouse, but Ozzie is not aging gracefully. Ozzie's arm is one of the weakest in the league. His fielding is not great, and his offense is even worse. I don't even know that the Braves are going to keep him. There's a club option for this year and next year, and they may release him because his performance has been that bad. To add to it, the team's farm system is considered barren of quality position players, right? So the issue with shortstop and second base and really center field is you don't have anybody to bring up to replace these guys. Maybe Michael Harris. But as far as shortstop and second base are concerned, you really don't have anybody that you can bring up that would perform, right? Which is kind of why we're in this situation. Well, there are other reasons, but those are some of the main reasons. The Braves rotation is also an area of concern. Look at we 60% of our rotation is injured now. You got Chris Sale, you got Schwelly, you got Lopez. They are all down. And for the most part, I don't know that Schwelly comes back this year. They say it's possible. Chris Sale is on the 60-day DL. So, the strength of your pitching is down. You got Grant Holmes, you got Spencer Strider and Grant Holmes in that order, and they've both been good, but that's a major concern. Ronald Acuna Jr. has recently been added to the 2025 Home Run Derby a month after returning from ACL surgery. Minor league prospects such as Cam Caminiti, Owen Karen, and Eric Hartman are showing promise, but there are a lot that are not showing promise. Overall, the Braves are currently struggling with a losing record and key injuries. They are looking to the upcoming trade deadline to potentially improve the team, but their farm system and pitching depth are considered areas of concern. The focus might be shifting towards the future and the 2025 Major League Baseball draft, according to some reports. We got Chris A1 from Day One in the chat, and he says, hashtag don't trade Ronnie. I love it, Chris. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I agree. So, hey, without any further ado, let's get to it. Where did this trade rumor come from? So Joel Sherman and Carlos Pena from the Major League Baseball Network were, I guess, kicking it back and forth. And they brought up the subject and threw it out there. Hey, should the Braves trade Ronald Acuna Jr.? And to quote, can you see a championship in the next 2 years? And that's by Joel Sherman. He had serious knee injuries to both knees. I would say let's have a serious meeting about it. Is it time to do that? Because Acuna in this marketplace, without offensive players of this stature, you could make the Juan Soto trade. Now, when he's talking about making a Juan Soto trade, he's essentially saying you could get a haul. You could get 5, 6, potentially 7 really good prospects for Ronald Acuna Jr. And you probably could. Okay, so that is true. What we want to delve into today is the reasons for and the reasons against. Okay, all right. So, what are the fans saying about this, right? I know what I think about it. I know what Chris thinks about it. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. So, if you are team Don't Trade Ronnie, if you're in the chat, drop a 1. If you say, hey, let's trade him and we could get a haul. Let's do a Herschel Walker trade, then drop a 2 in the chat. But here's what the fans are saying. Atlanta Braves fans are overwhelmingly against the idea of trading Ronald Acuna Jr. They view him as a franchise cornerstone, a fan favorite, and too valuable to the team, both on and off the field. While some hypothetical trade scenarios have been discussed, the general sentiment is that trading Ronald Acuna Jr. would be a mistake. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, 100%. All right. More reasons why you shouldn't trade him. Number 1, the fans would hate you. Okay? Braves are making a whole lot of money up there in Cobb County, right? And I got to think that you might have some folks that would decide to not go. Look, at the Braves were pretty bad between 2000, I want to say 14 and 2017 in their rebuilding years. And a lot of fans don't want to go back to that if they don't have to. So it's a very real concern as to why you would even consider this, When you have Acuna signed for not one, not two, but 3 more years after 2025, you've got him signed through 2026, and you've got club options for 27 and 28 at 17 million, which is very affordable. So the point is, you have time. You don't have to trade him now. You've got him for 3 more seasons. Okay? You've got your full pitching staff coming back next year. You can make some modifications. You can get another second baseman in here. You can get another shortstop in here. Profar will not be suspended for the playoffs next year. So you can realistically come back next year and have a very good team and a chance to compete deep into a playoff. So I disagree with Joel Sherman where he says, do you see this team competing for a World Series next year? Yes, I do. And the year after that, because you're going to have Chris Sale back. You're going to have Schwelly back. You got Strider. You got Holmes. You got Reynaldo Lopez. Those are 5 strong pitching candidates. Do you need to go out and sign some bullpen arms? Yes, you do. Do you need to sign maybe 1 or 2 starters to back them up? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But the ingredients are here, right? You've invested money in Austin Riley and Matt Olson and Michael Harris. What you need to do is to get a pitching coach in here that can work with what we've got. And no disrespect to Tim Hires, but clearly what he's doing is not working. Okay? And look apparently it wasn't the coach. You fired our pitching coach from last year, and what'd that get you? Well, I think we're even worse this year. Okay? We're even worse this year. You need a pitching coach that's going to understand how to deal with these players. First and foremost, you drafted these guys to hit home runs. You drafted these guys to slug. You didn't draft them to bunt. You drafted them to slug. And now you have a pitching coach that's telling them to do what is opposite or the opposite of what they've been trained to do. And clearly it's not taking. Clearly this was a mistake. So rest of the year, hey guys, go back to what you were doing before. How can we help you do that? Let's do that. You want to be aggressive? Let's be aggressive. Michael Harris, let's swing at some strikes. But you've got some really good guys. In 2023, the Braves tied the record for the most home runs ever. What happened? These guys all of a sudden just didn't turn into trolls. So you got to get a coach in here that can work with them and fix it. And for that matter, and no disrespect to Brian Snitker, look, I love Snit. Snit delivered a World Series to us in 2021, and that has only happened twice before. So as far as I'm concerned, Snit is on my Braves Hall of Fame shelf. I love Snit, but it feels like it's time for him to go. I just don't feel that zing. I don't feel that zest. I feel like he's past it. I just don't feel it coming from him. And, you know, sometimes who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. I just think the Braves need a new voice. You need a new manager. You need a new hitting coach. Those are my thoughts. Ronald Acuna is a franchise icon. Fans see Ronald Acuna as a player who embodies the Braves and don't want to see him in another team's uniform. And I don't. Look it. In this day and age of high salaries and high salary attitudes, it is refreshing to see somebody that just wants to play the game. Ronald Acuna Jr. plays the game with his hair on fire. Say what you will about the guy. Okay? Is he a little flamboyant? Sure he is. But he loves the game. He loves to play the game. He wants to win. And he is a 5-tool player. When I say 5-tool, I mean he can hit. He can run. He can throw. He can run the bases. He can hit home runs. He's got every tool you need in that Major League Baseball bag. And look at players like Ronald Acuna Jr. don't grow on trees. So just because you trade him for prospects, that does not mean that those prospects are going to be anything other than prospects. It doesn't mean that they'll come to fruition. It doesn't mean that they'll be great. It just means that they have potential. That's all it means. Ronald Acuna is too popular and too talented. He is an exceptional talent, and you've got 3 more years of him. So unless somebody's going to give you 15 players, I don't think it's worth it, because what if next year Riley comes back hitting 350 and Harris comes back, right? And Ozzy, if you keep him around, makes a resurgence. You're going to feel really stupid that you traded Ronald Acuna Jr. because, believe you me, you're going to miss that. You being the Braves, not you personally. All right. More reasons to not do it. A team-friendly contract. Ronald Acuna's total contract right now is $100 million. Okay. Soto's most recent contract, I believe, is $800 million. 800 million. No, not 800,000. 800 million. 800 million smackaroos. Now, you could argue, will the Braves pay that in 2029? And you know what? That's a good question. That's a good question. With this ownership group, and understand the Braves are corporately owned. They are not owned by a single entity. They are not owned by a sole proprietor. They are corporately owned, which means they don't necessarily like to spend money in certain areas. So that is a valid question. It's a very valid question. Will the Braves re-sign Ronald Acuna Jr.? Look at, by the time 2028, Ronald Acuna may qualify for $1 billion. I mean, if Soto's deal is approximately 850 million with all his qualifiers, if he can get 800 million, then I mean, you're talking Ronald Acuna Jr. 2029, $900 million, potentially $1 billion. Are the Braves going to do that? Don't know. They could structure it like Ohtani's contract, okay? Because the Dodgers paid Ohtani $700 and something million, but for the first couple of years, it's only $10 million. Now he's got a lot of. They'll probably be paying him for 20 years. And you could backload a contract like that. If you really want to keep Acuna, there's a way to do it. The Braves don't necessarily like to do that, but there is a way to do it. And quite candidly, I think that's the only way the Braves do it. I don't think they're going to pay somebody $70, $80 million a year. I just don't see that. But Acuna is a once in a lifetime talent. And if there is anybody that you should keep, I would say it's Ronald Acuna. All right. Hypothetical scenarios. While some writers have proposed hypothetical trades, these are largely seen as unrealistic and undesirable by the Braves. And look, I agree. I agree. I don't think you know what I mean. If you didn't have Olsen sign, Sean Murphy, Drake Baldwin, Austin Riley, Jerickson Profar, you've got some position players that are going to be here for at least the next 2 or 3 years. So why trade Acuna now? Right? Because your time to win, make no mistake about it, your window to win a World Series is in the next 3 years. You got, or maybe 4. You got, well, I don't know if you can count 25, but if you do, you got 25, 26, 27, 28. That's your window to win a World Series championship. Why trade them now? Again, you got all the dudes from our pitching staff coming back next year. You got Sale. You got Schwelly. Right? You got Lopez. You'll have Strider. You'll have Grant Holmes. Those are five, at least four of those are number one starters. And one is a decent number three, right? You got that coming back next year. Plus, you get a pitching coach in here and a manager who can get these players right. You got something. Why give up on it now? That's my point. Why give up on it now? To me, that makes absolutely no sense. Another reason not to do it, fan backlash. Look, at these fans are not going to be happy if you trade Ronald Acuna Jr. And I think they will let you know in the most important place, your wallet. Okay, many fans have expressed on social media that they would deeply be disappointed and angry if the Braves traded Acuna. Again, he has an elite contract, right? Elite contract, meaning for what you're getting from him, he has outperformed that contract by leaps and bounds, and you got him for 3 more years. You got him 25, 26, 27, 28. Why would you trade him now? Right? Unless you get 9, like you'd have to get a Herschel Walker like deal. It'd have to be better than Juan Soto. You'd have to get 9 or 10 players, and these guys would all have to be number one studs. And it probably would need to be a 3 or 4 team deal to get the value that it would really take to do that. I'm not trading Acuna for 5 players for 3 years of him. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. Not when you got the whole squad coming back. Look it. Do the Braves have a lack of leadership? Probably. Do they have a lack of discipline? I don't know. I know they need a new voice. I'm assuming they need a new hitting coach. But you can fix this, right? This is like trading your car at 50,000 miles. You've got a Lexus that can run for 200 to 300,000 miles, and you're trading it at 50,000 miles because you don't like the color. Paint the vehicle. Modify the vehicle, but don't trade it at 50,000 miles. You want to trade it at 150, fine, but 50,000? Why? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. You're going to trade a wonderful car and value to someone else. And these days, for what you're going to get for it, Again, Ronald is still in his prime. He's what, 25, 26? He's in his prime. Why would you trade him now? That absolutely makes no sense to me. What is the advantage? Again, unless you are getting a Herculean return. I mean, a Herculean return. I'm talking about 9, 10, 11 players, and all of them number one studs. I just don't see it. Because these are prospects. So what if you trade Acuna for 5 prospects, but only 2 of them end up making anything out of themselves? And of the 2, they're decent players, but they're not Hall of Famers, right? Ronald Acuna Jr. is a potential Hall of Famer. Why would you trade him now? Why would you trade him now? I would. It makes no sense to me. We got Raymond Collins in the chat. Raymond says, "What's happening, T-Wil? What is going on, Raymond? How you doing? We are talking about whether or not we wish to trade Ronald Acuna Jr., which we don't, and I don't, and I just think is a silly notion, but that is what we're talking about, Raymond. So, hey, join in on the conversation. If you want to trade Ronald Acuna Jr., drop a 2. If you don't want to trade him, drop a 1. But yeah, that's where we are. And Raymond, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. And everybody else out there watching and listening, welcome to the show. Also, it would be a PR disaster, and I believe it would impact you in the clubhouse, right? And not only that, but Alex has shut down all the rumors. Now, with that being said, okay, we've seen this before. We don't know what Alex wants to do because we don't know what Terry McGurk and those above him want to do. We got my guy Carlo. Raymond Collins says, "Oh no." We got Monte Carlo in the building. Carlo, what up, man? How you doing? Hopefully all is well. Hey, Carlo, man. Next time, brother, I hope you win that Spades game, man. Hey, if you roll through Georgia, I'll join you, man. Me and you, Carlo, I think we'll run the table on them. Carlo says, one, he doesn't want to trade Ronald Acuna. Neither do I. Now, again, Alex has shut down rumors of this. So Alex has said, no, we're not trading Acuna. No, 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 no. The question is, does that mean anything? Right? And I say this not as an attack on Alex Anthopoulos. I think Alex Anthopoulos is great. Other than John Schuerholz, he is one of the Braves' best general managers that we've ever had. Look at, we won our second World Series under him. But with that being said, Alex Anthopoulos made a lot of promises last year. None of them came true. Now, do I think that this was Alex's fault? I do not. I do not. Again, I'm not attacking Alex Anthopoulos. I revere the man. I love the man. However, here lately, what he says versus what happens has not been consistent, right? So let's review. Last year, Alex says, love Jorge Soler. I can totally see a future with Jorge and Ozuna on the same team. First day of the offseason, traded him. Okay, and that's fine. I mean, really, you know, you had Ozuna. You didn't need Soler. I get it. I understand. Soler's not great in the outfield, not really fleet of foot. He is the definition of a DH at this point in his career. You didn't need two of them. I get it. Not mad about that. He also said that we would retain the coaching staff. Did not retain the coaching staff. Did not. And as a matter of fact, as we can see, it wasn't the hitting coach. But nevertheless, he's not here. Also said the payroll would increase. It did not increase. No, it did not. So I ask you, with those things coming to pass, do you trust Anthopoulos when he says, oh, we're not trading Acuna? Now, I would hope not. I really believe the Braves would be shooting themselves in the foot. I really do. Make no mistake about it. I do not think this is the move that they should follow. I don't. You have Acuna. You have him for cheap. You should enjoy him. You should try and extend him. You've got 3 years left on his contract. In no way should you do it, but it doesn't mean they won't because, again, guys, our ownership group is not a typical ownership group. They are not a sole proprietor. They are not a majority owner. They are a corporate ownership group, which means they're looking at the bottom line. And they may look at Acuna Jr. and say, look, in 3-4 years, we can't pay him $900 million. So you really don't know what they're going to do. You really don't. Reasons to do it. All right. And again, got to play devil's advocate. Look, I don't agree with doing it, but it'd be irresponsible of me to come on here and talk to you guys and not at least offer you the reasons to do it. So number one, long-term health concerns. Look, he's had 2 torn ACLs on 2 separate knees. We don't know. Raymond says, do you feel the injuries we had at the beginning of the season affected the chemistry? Raymond, that's a good question. That is a very good question. And quite candidly, Raymond, I don't know. I don't know. I can't necessarily put my finger on it. If I'm being honest with you, Raymond, it feels like, and again, I'm not there. I'm not in the clubhouse. So, hey, man, this is just one guy's opinion, okay? I've been watching the Braves all my life, but I'm not in the clubhouse. This is just one guy's opinion. But to me, there's no oomph, right? The thing that was great about Ron Washington is that Ron would tell it like it is, and he had the rapport with Ozuna and Acuna and Ozzy and all of the players to do that. The Braves won a total of 88 games in 2021, but they really started to gain pace in the second half. And what Ron Washington is credited was saying to them is, look, guys, when we start going, it's going to be asses to elbows, because all they're going to see is the back. But he had the ability when it comes to getting on a player, he could do that because he's had them from pups, he's had them from babies, right? So if he needed to get on Austin Riley, if he needed to get on Acuna, if he needed to get on Ozuna, if he needed to get on Ozzy Albies, he could do that. Ozzy Albies looks at Wash like a dad, okay? And I believe Wash looks at him like a son. And I really think that him leaving has had a negative impact. Now, there have been other folks that look, Freddie was a vocal leader. Freddie was a leader, okay? And certain things didn't go on. Dansby was a leader, right? You let Dansby walk. You let Freddie walk. Ron Washington and EY are no longer there. So, in my opinion, all of your guys who would get up in somebody's rear are gone. And now you're left with guys that are just, I mean, with the exception of Chris Sale. Now, Chris Sale will get into your face, but let's be real. Chris Sale is a pitcher. He's not an everyday player, right? So point to me and show me an everyday player that's going to get in somebody's face. Is it Matt Olson? No. Is it Ozzy Albies? Maybe, but Ozzy Albies having a terrible year, right? Is it Nick Allen? No. Is it Austin Riley? No. Is it Sean Murphy? No. At least I don't think so. Is it Drake Baldwin? He's a rookie. Is it Jerickson Profar? Maybe, but he's just coming off a suspension. I don't think he has the room in that locker room to do that. Is it Michael Harris? Certainly not. Is it Ronald Acuna? No. So who's the guy, right? Who's the Nick Markakis in that locker room? Who's the guy that says, guys, this stops today, okay? These base running blunders, this stops today. Swinging at everything, this stops today. Who's the guy that's going to do that? Who's the guy that's going to get in somebody's rear? And again, I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not in the locker room. The Braves could very well have that. But just from the outward appearance, it does not look like it's there. And the problem is it grades at you over time, right? It grades at you over time. So I think first and foremost, you need to identify, okay, who do we need to bring in here that's going to add to this team chemistry? Who do we need to bring in here that's going to get in somebody's rear if they need to? Who do we need to bring in here to do that? That's the first thing you got to do. The first thing you got to find is, okay, guys, where are we lacking? Number one, look, no disrespect to Tim Hires, but that experiment has not worked. He needs to be up out of here, period. Bottom line. Snit, love you, Snit. Respect your career, but it's time to move forward. You want to finish out your 50-year career with the Braves, it's fine. It's probably time to do something else, though. So you need a new coach. You need a new hitting coach. Keep your pitching coach because your pitching coach is outstanding. But those are some of the things you need to do, right? You need a shortstop. You need a second baseman. I love Ozzy to death, but Ozzy, time to go, buddy. Time to go. You cannot be so in love with money that you keep. Ozzy is on the downslope of his career, and I don't see him coming back. Now, he could, and if so, great. But at this point, Ozzy is killing you. Shortstop is killing you. Michael Harris is killing you. You have Harris signed for a long-term deal. So you can fix him. You can try to fix him. Ozzy, there's no way I keep Ozzy. That's just me. So this offseason, I go get a second baseman and a shortstop. That's what I'm going to do. I may go and get a pitcher or two, and I need some relievers. We got our whole staff coming back. Let's go, guys. No way do I trade Acuna. Raymond Collins says, yeah, man, Washington brought the best out of the guys, and he did. Raymond says, agreed 100%. Be nice if Wash got back. Yeah, Wash is having some health issues now, so I don't know that he's coming back. But look, I can agree with the sentiment, Raymond. I agree with you 100%. Again, reasons to do it. You could get a huge package from a contender with prospects and arms. Now, again, if you're going to get a huge package, understand that when Soto was traded the first time. I think he had 2 years remaining on his contract, or a year and a half. Acuna has 3, not including this year. So if you trade him, you better get no less than 10 prospects, no less than that. And they don't need to be your first, second, 35th, 99. No, no, no. It needs to be first, second, fourth, fifth, 10th, maybe a first, second, third from another organization. Like, you need to get primo talent. And if you don't, then don't do it. Roster depth with Harris, Albies, Olsen. I'm gonna go by that because I don't know that Albies is gonna be here. Another reason to do it: Braves ownership has typically not wanted to do long deals with players approaching 30, and I believe Ronald Acuna will be at that 29 age at his next contract. And look, we know the Braves don't like to do that, but there are exceptions. There are times to make exceptions. Okay, I mean there's talent, and then there's talent. Ronald Acuna Jr. is a once in a lifetime talent. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is a once in a lifetime talent. So I think the rules are a little different for him. Okay. There's no way in the world I'm trading Ronald Acuna Jr. Matter of fact, what I do the next 3 years, I'm trying to find a way to sign him to a $900 million deal. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to find alternate streams of revenue to increase this, to do that. Whatever that is. That's what I'm trying to do. What I'm not trying to do is I'm not trying to trade him, because I feel like Acuna, when healthy, can take over a playoff. Acuna can go on a month run and deliver not 1, not 2, maybe even 3 championships, because look at, he was not on the roster. He was injured in 2021. That's got a grade on him. That's got to bother him. It would bother me. Acuna's purpose in life right now is to deliver the Braves another World Championship. Raymond Collins says, I want to see Acuna get a championship here out there playing. Felt bad he wasn't participating in the World Series. Yeah, me too, Raymond. Me too. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Braves farm system is in complete disarray. And we got to talk about this because it's true. Look, your farm system is so bad, okay? And I, again, this isn't me bashing the Braves. I've been a Braves fan for 45 plus years. I love my Braves. But sometimes you got to be honest. I love Didier Fuentes. Talented kid, has a future, not ready to be throwing major league ball games. Not ready. But you have such a dearth of talent on your major league roster that Didier Fuentes was the best that you could do, right? It's almost like in Black Panther, where it's like, is this your king? Like, Didier Fuentes is the best that you could do. And again, no disrespect to him. Great talent. He's just not ready to face major league hitters. And it shows you that if that's the best you have an issue. So not only is there a dearth of talent as far as pitching is concerned, and when I say that, I'm talking about that's ready to come up. I'm not talking about the J.R. Richies, right? I'm not talking about the Cam Caminittis. These guys will be really good, but they need at least another year or 2, possibly 3 of development. They're not ready right now. The Braves don't have any pitching that's ready. They definitely don't have any hitting that's ready. So your farm system is not in a good state right now. Okay, which is another reason to do it, because if you could get 10 prospects, 6 number 1s, 4 number 2s, 3 number 2s, 2 number 3s, that's a reason to do it. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying that's a reason to, because our farm system is in disarray. Now, you want to get into whether or not it was mismanaged or not, I don't know. That's another conversation for another day. Raymond Collins brings up a good point. So you remember those early 80s. Raymond, yes, I do. I remember the 80s and the 70s. Look, the Braves were so awful in the 80s, you couldn't give tickets away. You could not give tickets away. And that's another reason to not do it, because make no mistake about it, come 2029 and 2030, this is going to be a different Braves team. This is going to be a different Braves team. And I just don't know. So while you can, Atlanta fans, because I think we've gotten spoiled, right? We've been in the playoffs since 2018. This is 2025. That's not common unless you're the Dodgers. That just doesn't happen. You know, I would say as a Braves fan, we have been very spoiled, right? 14 division championships the first time, even though we only won one World Series, should have won two. Ken Urbeck, wherever you are, okay, Jim Leyritz should have won at least two. But you were in the playoffs 14 years in a row. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in today. It just doesn't. Again, unless you're the Dodgers or the Padres, you're going to, or the Mets, you're going to spend $300 million a year. It just doesn't happen. So I think we need to kind of enjoy what we have now. And a part of enjoying what we have now is keeping what we have now, right? The Braves, to me, their flaw is that they try to, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say cajole, but they try and, what do young folks say? Finesse, manipulate people. They try and assuage players at an early age to sign contracts that will probably benefit them as they get older. And hey, if you can do it, that's fine. But your entire business model can't be based on that, right? It can't be based on, oh, this guy's going to cost $200 million. Well, we're simply not going to do it. You're going to have one, two, or potentially three $200 million players on your team. It's just the way of the world, baby. It's just the way of the world. Okay? It is the way of the world. And the sooner the Braves figure that out, the better. They're being bitten right now because they wanted to take a discount double check approach. You could have gotten relievers out there. You could have gotten starters out there. That the general thought before this year was the Braves needed at least one or two starters, and you needed one or two bullpen pieces. You got your left fielder, that's fine. Now your bullpen has been it's been decent at times. It has been decent at times, okay? And your pitching rotation has been great. But again, these injuries have cropped up and your lack of depth is killing you. Now, to be fair, I don't know a whole lot of teams that could lose a Sale and a Schwelly and a Ronaldo Lopez and come back from that. Maybe the Dodgers. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot of teams that could do that, to be fair. We got my guy Debo Vibes, my partner in crime, my co-host buddy on this channel, who just jumped in the chat. Debo says, what up, T-Will? The Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, etc. will throw a boatload at Acuna in 2029. The Braves ownership simply will not match. And you know what, Debo? You could be right. You could be absolutely right. You could be right. I'm not going to say that you're wrong, brother, because you are 100% right. But I think that Acuna wants to stay, number one. And number two, and this is what I'm hoping that between now and then, or right now, the Braves can start to craft a plan. Look, if you look at Ohtani's contract, the first 3 or 4 years, they're paying him $10 million. Now they're probably going to pay him for 15 years, 15 to 20 years. And it is probably like what, the Bobby Bonilla contract or whatever. That if you're the Braves, that's what you're going to have to do, keep Ronald Acuna. This contract is going to be $900 million. Debo says, so the Braves can trade him within 1 or 2 years and get something, or watch him walk and get nothing. Either way, he will be gone. He could be gone. Debo, again, he has expressed a strong willingness to stay, right? And Acuna is from an island where $100 million goes so much further than it does here. So you might be able to get him for 600 million. And I'm not saying that's the case. Okay. I'm not saying that's the case definitively. Debo, you definitely have a point. What I am saying is that you have 3 years of control left on him. You've got Sale coming back next year. You've got Schwelly coming back next year. You're going to have Strider. You're going to have Raylo. You're going to have Grant Holmes. That is a rotation that is formidable against anybody. You bring a new coach in here and a new hitting coach to get these guys going, and all of a sudden you got a squad. You need a shortstop. You need a second baseman. You need some bullpen arms. But again, next year, you could be right in it. Why trade Acuna now? To your point, you've got 3 years. You don't have to trade him this year. You don't have to trade him next year. I see your point. I do see your point. Braves MLB squad currently has one of the worst offensive groups this year. And they do. But I got to ask you guys, if you've been doing something one way, right, all your professional career, if you've been typing right to left and all of a sudden somebody comes in, and they want you to type left to right, that's going to be an adjustment, right? That's essentially what the Braves going through right now. With the hitting, with this, look, Tim Hires has not worked out. See you, bye-bye. He's got to go. Okay, you got to get somebody in here that can work with what you got. That's number one. That is paramount. Okay, you get somebody in here that can work with what you got. I'm not saying the Braves got to hit 305 home runs a year, but if you get them to 250, 260, 280, and with the pitching staff that we got coming back, you had a shortstop, a second baseman, 2 or 3 bullpen arms. Let's go. We're right back in this thing. Right? So my argument for not trading him is the pieces around him are signed for at least the next 3 or 4 years. Why trade him now? That's just my thoughts. There is a dearth of pitching and hitting talent in the minors. Yeah. So that is true. Next, what should they do? What should they do? Well, in my very humble opinion, they should stay the course. Look, the Braves are built to win now. Some of you guys are saying, yeah, right. Can't even beat the last place Orioles. No, right now we can't. But they are built to win now. So you know what you do? Instead of trading Acuna, how about this? How about this offseason, right? Since you didn't raise your payroll this year, right? The clock starts over on the penalty threshold. How about you go out next year and sign at least a pitcher or 2, because you will have some arms coming back from injury. And how about you sign at least 2 relievers? And how about you go out and sign a shortstop and a second baseman? And let's go, right? Let's do this thing. Because again, you've got this team for the next 3 or 4 years, right? It makes no sense to trade him now. Let's surround him with pieces. Also, Anthopoulos says, we're not sellers. Now, again, I don't know that you can necessarily trust what Alex is saying, because I legitimately don't think Alex has control. I think Terry McGurk and his bosses, in other words, the people above him, are pulling the strings. And if they want to trade Acuna will be traded. Now, I don't know that the fans would like that, and I think the Braves would definitely see a hit. I think they take a hit. I think you can forget folks coming out to watch the Braves the rest of the year if you trade Acuna. I really do. I just that's just hard to get behind, and I don't understand it. So, and again, when I say I don't necessarily trust Alex, I'm not questioning Alex's integrity. I'm questioning who's really holding the purse strings, who's really calling the shots, right? Because everything Alex said in the offseason was the opposite of true. So, I don't know. Braves also, look at it's July the 8th. Trade deadline is July 31st. Braves got to start winning, man. Braves got to start winning some games in order to dissuade them or assuage them into trading for pieces instead of trading away pieces. The Braves got to do their part. Okay. If you get swept by a last place team. I mean, what can you say about that, right? There's not a lot you can say about it. There is not a lot you can say about it. Bro, the Orioles? You lost to the Orioles. You got swept by the Orioles. You got to do better, Braves. You got to do better. Okay? That's all I can say. You have to do better. You got to do your part. You got to do your part to convince ownership to, you know what? Let's see. You know what I mean? Let's see if we can go on a run. Right? Let's see if we can recreate the magic of 2021. Let's see what we can do. Okay? Braves need to trade for a second baseman and a left fielder. Well, Terry, we have a left fielder. T-Wil, we have a left fielder. You do, but you're not going to be able to use Profar in the playoffs if you get there, which is a very big if right now. That if is so big, oh my God, that if's a giant. But if you do, if you can make the wild card, if you can, I know if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But if you can make the playoffs, Profar can't play. And we've seen what you get when Profar's not in there. So you need a second baseman and you need a left fielder. At a minimum, you need a second baseman to face righties, and you can bring Ozzie in to face lefties. And you need a left fielder. You need some bullpen arms, and you need a starter. That's what you need at this trade deadline. Will you be able to go and get it? I don't know. Look, if Alex can pull this off, as far as I'm concerned, he's the GM of the century. All right? Because what we have versus what we need, I don't know. More than likely, the Braves just sit pat. You know what I mean? They don't do anything at the trade deadline. But I mean, I don't know. Braves got to get this thing in gear. Braves got to get this thing in gear. Off season. If it's me, I release Ozzie. Okay, Ozzie has been putrid. Ozzie's arm is gone. It's been gone for a couple of years, so he can't throw. He's not really a great fielder. I don't know that he has any more 35 home run, 100 RBI seasons, right? Because at this point, the only reason to keep Ozzie is for his offense, and his offense has been awful. So if it's me, I release him. Now that's me. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. But if it's me, I release Ozzie. Those are just my thoughts. Again, if you don't do it at the trade deadline, sign a shortstop and a second baseman. Relief pitchers, one starter. You need a new manager and a new hitting coach. Just my thought. Acuna's contract. Acuna is currently under contract with the Atlanta Braves through the 2026 season with two $17 million club options for 2027 and 2028. He signed an 8-year, $100 million extension in 2019. Acuna has expressed a desire to remain with the Braves long term. Look, he's saying, I want to stay with you guys. You have enough time to make this happen. I don't know what you have to do, right? I don't know if you have to acquire some other property. I don't know if you gotta, you know what I mean? You can look for revenue generators right now. There are all sorts of deals that you can sign. Maybe you sign deals with, I don't know, stations in Latin America, all over the world, but you have to get creative to sign Acuna Jr. It might take 800 to 900 million. And if you can't do that, then maybe you do the Ohtani deal and you give him 10 million for the first 3 or 4 years and you back end it 20 years. Look, however you get it done is how you get it done. But for now, he is on a very, 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 very team-friendly deal. All right. This is your Braves rotation next year, which I've alluded to several times, but I just wanted you to see it. Look, next year you got Sale, Schwellenbach, Strider, Lopez, Holmes. That's like 1,200 strikeouts right there. Okay? You add some bullpen pieces to the back end, you get a hitting coach and a manager, you let a fire under these guys, you might have 2 or 3 championships. This right here I'm sorry. Here we go. You got Sale, Schwellenbach, Strider, Lopez, Holmes. You got all of this coming back next year. Why would you trade them now? Okay? You've got all of this. You've got literally 1,200 strikeouts on this page right here. Why would you trade Acuna now? Literally 1,200 strikeouts, at least 1,000. At least 1,000 strikeouts on this page coming back. These guys will be here next year, 2026. So yeah, you do need a new manager. No disrespect to Snit. I love him. Snit, time to go. You do need a hitting coach. Look, Randy Hires, love you. Gotta go. Okay? You need a second baseman. You need a shortstop. Maybe a starter or two. Maybe 2 or 3 relievers. And let's go. Let's go. This team can win another World Series championship. Look it. You don't trade in a car at 50,000 miles because you don't like the color. You paint it. Especially if it's going to last for 200 to 3,000 with the cost of automobiles nowadays. You just don't. You trade Ronald Acuna now. You're trading him with 50,000 miles and an engine that purrs like a kitten. It's just not wise. It's not smart, in my opinion. And I don't think you should do it. But hey, those are my thoughts. Ultimately, trading Ronald Acuna Jr. is a fantasy. It's not a future, but that doesn't mean that the team doesn't need moves. Should we trade him? In a word, absolutely not. So, guys, those are my thoughts. Those of you who did join, I appreciate it. Look, you can see content like this and others. We've got Braves, Falcons, Hawks. We've got all sorts of ATL sports at 4myatlsports1 on YouTube. So if you get a chance, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about it so we can continue to bring you content just like this. Would love to do it. Again, that is 4myatlsports1 on YouTube. You can grab the link below, drop it in a search engine, and hey, like, share, and subscribe. Also, we do movies as well on Saturdays. We do it on 4myatlsports1 on YouTube. Also, 4myatlmovies Movies 1 on YouTube. So, look, we do previews of Marvel and DC movies and movies of that like. But again, to everyone who joined us in the chat, thank you. Cannot thank you guys enough. This was so much fun. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to spend this time with me, and I graciously appreciate it. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Can't thank you guys enough. I want to thank God for waking me up this morning, giving me this platform, giving me this podcast, and just giving me the ability to, hey, talk with you guys and do this. Last but not least, I want to thank my guy D-Bull Vibes. I want to thank my guy Chris A1. I want to thank my guy Raymond Collins. I want to thank my guy Monte Carlo. I want to thank my guy A1. And I think that's everybody for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. And to all of you who I can't see, thank you. There's a lot of you. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate that. Hope you guys have an amazing day. And last but not least, I want to thank Mr. Jack Spade, Mr. Eric Parker for giving my shot in this business, and Mr. Lamar Johnson for, hey, doing my music. You guys have an amazing day. And yeah, see you next time. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Hey, you just watched another entertaining and interesting For My ATL Fans Sports 1 show. If you enjoyed the show, please let T-Wil know by hitting the like, share, and subscribe buttons. T-Wil would have brought you this message himself. This guy doesn't know how to keep it short and simple, not to mention that outrageous laugh. Anyway, tune in next time and have a great day. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.